Welcome back to the hitchhiking video journal series where I document the messy, chaotic, fun stories along the journey as I hitchhike around South America. I'm in a tree somewhere in the province of Buenos Aires, here to tell you about my chaotic second time in Buenos Aires. I don't know where to begin. First, where are we now? We are in San Miguel del Monte, away from the city. I've escaped the urban lifestyle. I was there for quite some time, but I didn't do the daily video journals, and I've been slacking. What can I say? I've not been consistent on that and various things, and due to that I'm doing a mega episode, or at least cramming as many stories as I can in my time there on the second trip to tell you what it was like. So we left off from this night where I couldn't find a place to stay, and in essence that was because I really wanted to visit a dentist early in the morning. I didn't want to miss out on getting an appointment, so I couldn't find somewhere to camp outside. I'm on a low budget, what can I say? So I tried spending the night at what I thought was a 24-hour McDonald's. Turns out it wasn't, and I was kicked out 20 minutes after. Then I went to this hotel and I asked very politely, hey, can I do some work here for a couple hours? And they kindly said yes. So I wasn't really doing work, I was too sleepy for that sort of thing. Watching a bunch of YouTube videos, as much as one can do, being really sleep deprived. I was so tired, I almost nodded off multiple times on the sofa they have in the lounge. But that's not all. So I heard that the reception for the dentist opens at 7. I wanted to go early, but not super early, because I didn't want to wait outside too long. Someone mentioned going early at 5 and 6, but I thought, hey, I thought I'd go maybe 6:30, but I was sort of kicked out of the hotel at like 5, so I thought, okay, if I go there now, there's nothing wrong with that, let's go there now. So it was 5:15 when I arrived at the dentist's office, and little did I realise just how many people were waiting there. There was a line of what I realised to be almost 30 people waiting before 5 a.m. for this dentist appointment. Now mind you, this dental department place is part of a student hospital, and it's known in Buenos Aires for cheaper appointments. Because of that, there's a high demand. Now, I also heard about this place because of the cheaper prices, and I just came there to get my teeth cleaned, get them sorted. I didn't need any major operation or anything like that, because I missed out on that in the UK, and I was hoping to get a cheaper rate in Argentina. But yeah, when I arrived, there were like 30 people there already. I was like, what? You guys, you're waiting earlier than 5 a.m. to see the dentist. They didn't open for over 2 hours. Now, I sat down by this building. I was really, really tired, so I did sleep sitting up, which has rarely happened. I was also really cold as well. It was not a comfortable experience waiting there. But eventually, when they opened the doors, it was 7 a.m. By this point, it was an enormous queue. So I was very pleased to be towards the front of that queue. But as soon as they opened the doors, there was one guy dealing with loads of people, and what ensued from that was a whole bunch of arguments on queuing and who was where and what would happen. So after a little bit of jostling, I was eventually seen to. They first did a scan. I didn't really need a scan, but it cost a bit, but if it meant seeing the right sort of care I needed, then that's what I did. And then after waiting in a small room to get a scan, I then was told to go to a room. I thought this was it, okay. I'd see the dentist shortly after. There'd be another small waiting room, and that'd be it. Little did I know, they take me to to this floor where there was also an enormous line of seeing people. I don't know how there was an enormous line, considering I was more towards the front of the line. There were loads of people there already. I don't know how. Also there's an issue with payment. They wouldn't accept contactless, so I had to find my card, and I couldn't find my card, but I found it anyway. Alas, that's sorted. There's a little bit of drama there, and yeah, there was a really big line. I was like, why are people waiting here? Where's the dentist? Turns out they were queuing to speak to someone to then put them in line for the queue as such. So after much waiting, eventually I was seen to by this guy, and then came the waiting game of seeing the dentist. I don't know what number I was in the queue. All I knew was I was in some kind of queue, and I just had to wait until I was seen. Now, I didn't think I'd be waiting just so long. I thought maybe half an hour at most. But wow, was I so wrong. Okay, enough with the suspense. Exactly how long was I waiting? Well, I was seen to by a dentist. They cleaned my teeth, they got it sorted. I left the dentist at 2:30 p.m. Bear in mind, I started queuing at 5:15 a.m. and it took 2:30 p.m. for me to leave that place. There was an hour of their lunch break, but I call that waiting, okay? Even if I had loads of expensive food at a cafe, it's still considered waiting. Oh yeah, I made some friends in the queue. One girl spoke a teeny bit of English, and there was another girl as well there, and we just passed the time by talking. And I tried sleeping, but failed with that. But yeah, it was an incredibly uncomfortable dentist experience. Not the actual seeing the dentist itself, that was great. I was very pleased to see the dentist, but the waiting around the entire day, pretty much the entire day, waiting to see the dentist. It was, I'm a patient guy, I'm a hitchhiker, what can I say? But it was just so awful, waiting so long, not knowing when I'd be seen. But for the people that had waited a long time, when they were finally seen, there was a bit of applause when they were called, when their names were called. So it's pretty funny hearing that and getting seen to. Then when I left the dentist, I recorded a video, but I had a decision to make on where I would be spending the night that night. I didn't want to sleep on the street again, or I didn't want to try and sleep on the street again because I couldn't find a suitable place. There were either loads of homeless people, or just the way the city's designed, there aren't many places to properly, comfortably, safely sleep outside. Now I decided to go to an El Ateneo. It was a bookshop, but one in particular is really placed in what used to be a theatre. It's a really nice looking bookshop. I went there before on my last time in Buenos Aires. So I was sitting there and really figuring out where I can stay. I put out some requests for place to stay, but I couldn't find anywhere for that particular night. But this girl I'd been speaking with at the dentist who'd been waiting with me, I just mentioned that I was looking for a place to stay and if she knows anyone that could help. And at first she said she doesn't know anyone. And then as I'm on my phone in this library, she texts me back and says, hey, like, if you like, me and my boyfriend could host you for this night. I was like, oh wow, that'd be incredible, thank you so much. So I got on the phone with both of them. They're like, okay, we live here, take this bus, go there, meet us. And by this point it was the evening, so I didn't have too much time for resting. I jumped on the next available bus and away I went to that neighborhood. I was gleeful that I had a place to stay that night, and with someone who I already know in the city now and only just recently had known. It felt so wonderful to have a place to stay. So I excitedly jumped off the bus and waited to see them. I was met by her boyfriend who took me in, and I had a shower, unpacked my bag, got some stuff sorted, and then we went out to walk for the evening. We had a drink and we explored the neighborhood together. I learned about the dark history of Argentina with dictatorship, and the fact that there's a plaque marking one of the detention centers where they kept people alive for information. I can't remember too much, but it was definitely fascinating to learn about the history while walking in these neighborhoods. We also tried some Argentinian snacks, some alfajor, some chocolates, some sweets that have some like weird acid inside. It was a Willy Wonka kind of experience, being taken around, trying snacks, exploring the neighborhood. It was a real adventure and a real nice time. And we got back quite late. We had some food, milanesa, mash. It's a classic Argentinian comfort food experience. A real good time, but it was 1 o'clock, so quite late, so I was pretty tired, but I loved learning a lot from them. And when I woke up in the morning, I learned more about their interests and their work. The guy works in content creation and making videos and editing them, which I find really fascinating, learning about what he did and what he knows, what he's learned, and what kind of projects he's been involved in. I found it it's a really interesting talk, but it was the morning. I got my stuff sorted. We had a bit to eat for breakfast, and then I packed my backpack and left in the middle of the day, and it was time for a new adventure. So they don't want to be on camera because of their work, but I'm very grateful they hosted me. It was a great experience staying with them, and definitely one I remember for sure. Most of my time, the second trip of Buenos Aires, was characterized by a heap of procrastinating, falling back into negative patterns, but also exploring and meeting people along the way. I stayed with 4 people in total. In fact, I'll mention the 3 first, and the last stay I'll mention last because of how such a remarkable story it was. But the second stay was with a local from one of these couch surfing platforms. There was hardly any conversation because he was extremely busy, which is perfectly understandable. I made the bed on the couch. I went out to find some leftover food that night. I was just amazed by how many kind people gave me food that night. I had empanadas. I had, I think, a bit of rice. It was pretty nice. Oh, probably the best chicken and chips I've had anywhere. Fried chicken and chips seems like a totally standard meal, but it was so nice from this one restaurant. Just absolutely incredible. Then this lady who I met on a bus, I stayed with her one night. I also camped a couple of times in different places in Buenos Aires. Meanwhile, finishing a TV series. Meanwhile, compartmentalizing my thoughts. Trying to get back into life of consistency and into deciding when I want to leave Buenos Aires. So in Buenos Aires, I went to the dentist, but there was one more thing I really had to do before leaving, and that was buying a new backpack.